Hey guys, my name is Nemo. You might have seen me stream on Twitch under aka Nemsco, and if you've watched my previous YouTube video with CLG, you might also know that I am a former World Youth Chess Champion and a current Woman Grandmaster in chess. So thank you very much today for tuning in and watching this video, and if you like it, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. For this video, I want to talk a bit about beginner chess tips and how to pick up chess and also play in your first tournament, whether it will be online or over the board. Without further ado, make sure you are paying some attention at least to some of the most basic tips and tricks you can learn in chess. I know that starting your first game of chess can be really daunting, but it's really not as difficult as you might think it is. I do have some very overall kind of suggestions for the game that you can also apply to other games, or maybe you have some insight that you've gained from other games that can be also applicable in chess. Either way, make sure you're letting me know what you think in the comments. So one of the first things that I think might be really important is to not resign in your games. You might be very tempted to resign the moment that you are down material, or you lost a piece, or you're like, oh no, that should not have happened. But just like in League of Legends, or just like in any other video game, if you resign, you will not get any chance to win the game. But if you keep playing, you will still have a chance to win, right? And we all know playing on might also result in your opponent tilting, so make sure you don't resign your games. Another piece of advice I'm going to give to beginners right off the bat is to not worry too much about losing games on time. I know a lot of people are always looking at the clock, or when they're playing online, playing their practice games, they do have a time control, right? I want to stress that if you're just starting out in a game, worrying about the time is not going to help you improve your play. Let's improve our play first and then worry about our time. There is too much about chess to be able to cover in a short YouTube video, but I will do my best to give you an idea of how to start out in your game, and also some ideas that you can just sort of generally use throughout your game, because I'm sure you'll be able to get, to a point where you have to start making a lot of your own decisions. Now, you might ask, do pieces have different values? Do I value some pieces more than others? Well, as you can probably guess, the pieces that do the most work are the most valuable. But the king is the one piece that you want to checkmate, not your own. You want to checkmate your opponents if you're playing white, for example. But the king is that piece that you want to protect and you want to attack your opponents. So that's kind of the goal in chess. The king doesn't have a value. However, every other piece does have a value. Pawns are worth 1 point. Knights are worth 3 points, and bishops are also worth 3 points. Rooks are worth 4.5, and queens are usually worth 9 points. So taking all of these things in consideration, you can probably guess losing your queen is not cool, okay? If it's a trade, if you're swapping a queen for a queen, you can do the math. 9 for 9, that equals out. But if you're giving out your queen for only your opponent's knight, 9 equals 3? No, not quite, right? So you can always keep these values in mind when you're making trades or trying to take your opponent's piece. Just think about which piece is more valuable. Now, what are some ideas that you can use throughout the whole game? Well, kind of like just how you want all of your teammates to be doing work in League or in Valorant. In chess, you want to use all of your pieces in the game basically at all times. So how do you even get to that stage? Well, for the opening part, it's, quite simple. You just have to develop your pieces. I know I say it's simple, but really, in chess, it's just like having good teammates. You want your pieces to be doing work. And this is like a mindset that you want throughout the whole game. Don't just forget about your poor rook on A1. I see too many people never moving that piece once, but just remember, all of your pieces have a role to do, and they're there to help you win your game. So if you don't use them, well, then they're going to be pretty useless. So we can kind of see how a typical chess opening really pans out. Basically, white develops his pieces, so does black. Everybody's just trying to get their pieces to somewhere where they can be potentially useful. You can kind of see that all the pieces sort of going towards the middle of the board, right? And you might be wondering, why is that? Well, That's because having control of the mid, just like in any game, or having control over the center in chess, as we call it, is super important. And the reason for this is because once you have control of the center, you can start expanding to controlling the other parts of the board. Whenever you are making a move, make sure that you're not losing that piece. This is something that's very important and something I see a lot at lower levels because you're not always paying attention to your pieces. If you lose any material, right? If you lose a teammate, if you lose one of your pieces, you have a lower chance of winning the game because now you just don't have that piece that can do work for you anymore. The same applies in chess. So whenever you're making a move, make sure you're looking at the captures, the possible threats that your opponent can make. For example, in this position, if black was to make a move, he should not be making a move like bishop to b4 because, we'll take a look, white here has a pawn that can take this bishop. And this is a very favorable capture for white because he's giving up a pawn for 3 points. So 1 point for 3 points, that's worth it for white. So on every single move that you make sure you're not losing your pieces. If your opponent's making a move, before you make your move, make sure you're checking whether or not your opponent can take one of your pieces, so you don't lose anything, right? That's super important for chess. The more pieces you have, usually the better chances you have of winning the game. So thank you so much once again for tuning in to this video. I really appreciate everybody for watching, and if you liked it, make sure you're giving a thumbs up, commenting, and also subscribing. Let us know what you think and what more you want to see from either me or CLG in the future. Thank you so much for watching.